Good morning, afternoon, evening, people. I'm not going to say gaming because this one isn't about gaming. As I've said before, primarily I do gaming because that's something I really enjoy. The artistry, the the details, the people who work so passionately on games. But there's also like a lot of other things that I do. And I mean, I've spoken before, like, yes, I could put these in different, like, I could make different channels, but honestly, running one channel is fairly difficult. And for you, the person consuming the content, like, you've got to find this channel for gaming, and then you've got to go find the other channel for reactions. And I would rather not waste your time. I'd rather just have everything in one place for you to consume when you feel like it. The other reason I don't do Twitch and I don't do streaming. I have done a little bit of it, but it requires you to take time out of your day to come by and stop what you're doing and watch me. And for me, I'm not talking about other people. Like, if you want to stream, do streaming. If you want to do YouTube, if you want to do videos, do videos. If you don't want to do any of it, don't do that. Do what you feel is right for you. I'm not calling anybody out because there are so many people these days you can offend. I don't do it because I would rather make content, make videos that you, when you have time out of your busy day, because I try to respect your time, that you can sit down and watch. So this video is a lady. Let us go to the screen. So this lady is Courtney Ryan. You can see her channel here. If you're interested in dating, if you're male, I think she caters mostly to men because maybe men need more dating advice, and possibly from a woman's perspective. But maybe she does women as well. I'm not entirely sure. I've only been watching a few of her videos so far, but she's very grounded, and quite level-headed, which is kind of getting a little rare these days, although she does touch on a point that maybe people like myself who consume a lot of YouTube get that perspective that all women are thinking, terrible things about men, and that there's a lot of things going on that maybe there aren't. I kind of understand her point. So she's talking. I'm not going to play her video because it's her property. She works very hard. I'm absolutely sure on her content, as all creators do. So I'm not really going to play too much of her off of it. I used to do content. I actually used to buy a lady called Marnie. Um, I forget her name. She may even be that they might even like know each other. I don't know. But
Experiment,
it's
and I didn't really like the guy. I more just wanted to see if I could break his heart, and
Yikes.
it was fun.
So did you break his heart then?
Just a wee bit. I hope I did a little damage.
Wow. Okay.
so yeah. So Courtney is basically giving her take on this. I I think it was a podcast or something like that. I've seen that clip before, and I've seen a lot of clips like it. I watch a fair amount of this. I used to watch the quartering, and I used to watch oh the there's another lady who does it. There's quite a few now that are doing kind of the reverse and speaking out on these women. But I had to give people, like the quartering, a bit of a break because you start watching that, and you do start to think, oh my god, like women are just they're really against us. They hate us. Like like and you start to get these negative thoughts. That's not healthy because clearly clearly look at her face. She's not into it. Um, I do have a proviso of if this is her job, and she makes a living from giving dating advice, maybe more so to men, whether or not she has a vested interest. I think that's a valid thing that you can say, but I also think as a human being that this isn't great. This is this is disturbing, and it's hatred. And let me be very clear. And as Courtney said, there are men that post incredibly terrible stuff online and have done, and maybe they've got away with it for far longer than maybe should have been possible, which is why maybe we get some of these problems, and maybe why we have women like this who obviously have issues. I don't want to hate her, because that doesn't fix anything. I think I think there's issues there. I think there's damage, and I think some help is a good idea when you start to feel this way about other people, and whether it be you're having thoughts about you know people of color or people of ethnicity. I saw a TikTok, or it was part of a thing by an Asian guy. I wanted to do a video on it, and I saw lots of people do videos on it, and I don't know how deep I want to go down this rabbit hole, because again, sometimes you have to pull back from this stuff. You have to be like, I don't know. But he showed a TikTok of, I think it was an American Indian. I would like to say he looked of American Indian descent. Might not have been. And he basically subscribed to the idea of white people, because as every problem in the world, it's basically our fault. Yeah. And so he basically subscribed to the idea of us just not having children. And there were worse TikToks, like things that if you were to say as a man, oh, I mean, he was a man, but he was of an indigenous peoples that have already had quite a lot of terrible stuff done to them, which I don't deny. I'm not denying that. But as soon as you start becoming like the very people that oppressed you, then isn't it the same thing? You're just, her her face though. I mean, she's. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, because again, these days you're not allowed to see these things as a man. But she's a pretty attractive woman. But to see this face, and that's kind of what this ugliness creates. It creates this ugliness, which is, you know, people can see it from miles away. And if you're looking to have a relationship and be happy, people are going to see that and, run a mile. I've said before in other videos, I've battled lifelong with depression. And probably the reason why I don't have very many friends is because I was always depressed. I was always battling it. And people don't want to be around that, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like now, well, I think even at the time, like I understood, but I was trying to keep it away from them, and actually just making it worse. Sometimes the cage is gilded, but it's still a cage. So yeah, but so that's basically what she's talking about this lady talking about just breaking men. You know, which is just it's not helpful. It's not useful. It's it's destructive. I don't understand this logic, male or female. People, human beings. We break down so often actions into genders. Oh, he did this. He's a terrible thing. Like women own getting hurt for for some reason. All people gets hurt. Children, the elderly, black people, white people, Asian people, people, men, women. You know, people hurt each other, and sometimes they don't mean to. Sometimes they do. Sometimes it's a byproduct of something else. We are complex. We are complex human beings, and I'm not forgiving behavior, but it will happen. And here's the thing. Here's my take. Here's my take. You see videos quite often whereby people people talk about sex education, right? So, and you know, some people are for it and some people are against it. Oh, it's too explicit. Children don't need to learn this at a certain age. Sure, absolutely. If you're teaching children that are below puberty, I don't know why they would necessarily need to know this. But once you start getting to that age where you're hitting puberty, you're starting to notice the you know the other gender, or maybe the same gender. It's you know, and you're looking at them and you're starting to have feelings, and you're starting to you know think, okay, what is this? And you're attracted to people. I think then sex education is a must. And I'm not just talking about the biological. It's very easy to be able to work out which parts go in which. Pardon, trying not to be crude, and it's YouTube. They'll, you know, that they don't like pretty much everything to do with a lot of subjects, but these are things that we need to talk about. Um, where things go is one thing, but I think we also need to have conversations with young people about how we treat each other, how you give respect to to other people. And I don't know if that's happening in schools, because if it's not, we go out into the world, and this is definitely my experience is that I went out into the world. I had these feelings for the other gender, which apparently are were I was being told were wrong. I was. How much of this do I want to go into? I was getting physical with girls. I went to a boarding school, which was a mixed school, and I was, getting physical with my girlfriend. We got caught twice, and again, I may have done some things, and I think about that all of the time. I think about it often. What I may have done to her, maybe I caused her problems in life. Maybe I caused mental problems. But they would just say to me, "Your feelings are wrong. What you're doing is wrong," and that was kind of it, without really explaining things, going into things like why you feel the way that you feel. Because if you have an attraction for somebody, that's there isn't something that you can do about that. It's like people who have preferences, right? So, um, I'm not particularly keen on girls who wear glasses, for instance. It's not that I don't like people that wear glasses like that. That's not it. I just I don't find women as attractive with glasses on. It's a preference. I don't have any control over that. I feel how I feel. I am very attracted to Asian women. I think there's something very attractive about them, and very beautiful. I'm very attracted to bone structure. I mean, it sounds weird, but just good bone structure is just, again, it's a preference, and I don't necessarily have any control over that. It's just how I feel. But and apparently I've been told in my life that apparently that makes me racist because I like one type of women to others, but it doesn't really work like that. I could meet somebody tomorrow who's who's an Irish girl with copper red hair, and we might just get on, and the chemistry's there, and like, yeah, it doesn't really work that way. But I have preferences, like everybody does. Some women don't like short men. It's okay. I don't know that they need to be as cruel about it sometimes. But then on the other side of the fence, I see men talking about women's weight. Again, yes, it's a preference, but again, you don't need to always be so cruel about it. Sometimes it's the way we put things across, but that's by and by. But you know, if we if we educate people on how to treat what are going to be potential partners, wives, lovers, girlfriends, who are going to be the mother of our children, because it was my experience. I went out into the world and I didn't really understand how to always treat people. And so I would go into relationships, and I'm absolutely 99. I'm 100% sure that I caused maybe problems, and then that person, that they've had a bad experience, then they go into a relationship, and can you see how it snowballs throughout their life, and then you get women like this who have some deep issues to the point where they hate people, where they hate a specific gender. Yeah, that's not good. That's not healthy. And I just think if we put as much time into educating people on how to treat each other, and really treat everybody, which is something I think we are trying to do in the modern age, but we're now overcorrecting so much that we're now causing other problems, which are snowballing, and now you have an opinion, but you don't have an opinion, and, I'm right, you're wrong, and it's just, we're now overcorrecting. But I do think that if we start at school, at that age when we start to notice, you know, the other the other gender or the same gender people that we are attracted to, we start to have those feelings that we start to learn not just the biology, and the physical act, which is important as well. You need to learn, how to give pleasure, how to receive pleasure, but also mental, what's going on in the mind, how you treat others. How many young people go on to, I've got it here. I'm not hiding it from you. I've got an adult channel there, which I have open. I'm a single guy. I'm probably going to stay that way until I die. I've ruined a lot of things in my life. And whilst I always wanted love, I always wanted to be loved. I think most people in life do want that. Um, not all go about it the right way, and not everybody is going to get it. Um, but you can all, you know, you, because I say that, that can also change. If you change yourself and maybe start thinking about how you come across and how you speak and how you treat others, that can have a change on your, you know, I don't know whether I want to say prospects, but on the chances of you finding somebody. For me, I think I've made that decision. I've chased it long enough, and it's caused me probably more problems than I want. And again, not looking for sympathy at this point. Again, there's no point. It's not necessary. But for you, who, maybe you watching a single and you think, I won't find love. Think think about how you think and how you feel and how you treat others. It always starts with you, a lot of the time. Um, but I do think this should start in schools. We're training people in maths and English and you know history of people that are long gone. We're teaching young people all of that and how to make money, because this is one of the biggest things in the world, how to make money. But I don't know that we're teaching people how to take care of themselves. How dieting works, and how to have that balance of having food that's enjoyable. Let's face it, pizza and cheeseburgers are great, but all the time, not good for you. Eating lettuce and broccoli, again, probably all the time, no. You're going to get bored and you're going to probably start, going the wrong way. You need to have balance in life in all things. So, if we teach, dieting properly, how to manage money, mortgages. Like, I, I, I watched a program on YouTube about mortgages. I think it was English, but I didn't understand any of it. It was like it was its own language. It was so complicated and just weird, and like, I imagine a lot of people don't understand any of that and jump into things that they don't really understand what they're doing. And that's the same with, see where my point is going, that's the same with relationships. People are jumping in to relationships and having relationships and figuring it out as they go along, and probably not getting things right, getting things horribly wrong. Then we create, broken people, I'm going to say, which then create broken relationships, and it snowballs. It's like a virus. It jumps from one person to another person to another person, until you've got a lot of people with this toxicity within them that may or could have been avoided potentially. I mean, there are still some people that are just, no matter what you tell them, that they're gonna do what they're gonna do, and they're gonna create damaged people, or come out damaged possibly. But there's also a lot of people that, if you just gave them the tools when they went out into the world, maybe they'd be better off. It's the same with self-defense as well. I think everybody should be taught self-defense. Not so you can go out and attack people, but if you are attacked, you can defend yourself. I think that's important. And, as I've said, relationships. Most people just go out into the world and just try and figure it out. Some people succeed, but a lot of people, they really don't. Or they get it right, but after they've got it wrong, no matter how many times. But in the meantime, those people are going into relationships and causing damage and causing baggage. You know how maybe we should be working on this in schools. If we put as much effort as we do into teaching people how to make money, maybe things would be different. But that's all. This was just something I wanted to talk about. You may agree, you may disagree. That's all right. Having conversations about these things is good. And it's good to see that, Courtney, and I've seen a few of her videos on some of this behaviour, which is not great. And I fully believe she will call out men just the same as she will women. Like, that's not it. It's not about whether it's men being toxic to women, women being toxic. It's people. If you're being toxic to others, there's a problem, you know? And she seems fairly level headed. And yeah, I've enjoyed watching quite a few of her videos. So yeah, and I'm gonna be fully transparent here when posting this video. I'm probably gonna have a picture of her because she is very pretty. People are gonna see pretty girl and they're gonna click on it. Is that clickbait? Yeah, yeah, kind of. I'm being absolutely honest. Yeah, but hopefully people can then watch the video. They may decide it's not for them. Fair enough. Move, and they'll move on to other things. Some people might stop and listen for a bit and then have their own conversations. As long as we have dialogue, I'm hoping that we can overcome the problems that we're having. And again, it's not all women, it's not all men. That in itself is a kind of a weird thing that people do. They have a bad experience and they blame the entirety of the thing. I went out and I had a curry and it made me ill. So therefore all curry houses are bad. No. No, that's not how that works. That one restaurant may not have been doing due diligence. Maybe the health inspector needs to come by. But that's not to say that another Indian restaurant is going to be the same. You may have amazing food. And that's the same with everything. But we get it stuck in our brain. Oh, I had this bad experience, so therefore it's it's all of that. So yeah. And if you feel that way, that would be one thing. But then you're going on to social media and you're putting it out there to amass a an army of followers. That's part of the problem now. Is having an opinion about something. Everybody has opinions about everything. That's fair enough, you know? But you're actively going on to social media to get attention, which you may not always like. Apparently, that lady had. I think she thought that she was going to get a lot of backing from other women. She got a little bit, but the majority was a backlash because you're talking about people's fathers, people's brothers, you know, people's husbands, boyfriends, the father of their children, their grandparent, their grandfather, people important in their life. How did you really think that that was going to go? Yes, there are men and there are women that do terrible things, like seriously messed up things. But they have a problem. There are issues that it doesn't mean that that is the spectrum. Doesn't mean that all women, all men are doing these terrible things. And I feel like this is common sense, but clearly, maybe not. So yeah, so I wanted to talk about this. I see this going on. And the other thing, that kind of the thing that worries me is a lot of people will say on the counter argument, and whilst Courtney says this, that this isn't all women, and yes, I understand that. However, I've seen a lot of legislation in schools, and a lot of it is well meaning of, inclusiveness and equality, which are great words in theory. I think they've become buzzwords though, and respecting each other, which I feel like they're kind of trying to do the thing that I'm saying, but it's not going the right way. Respecting people's choices, the rainbow community. Also, if anybody is offended by that, don't be. I think the rainbow community. I think that's kind of beautiful. It sounds quite nice. I think, but okay, but it's not meant in an offensive way. It's actually meant in a warm, kind of fuzzy way. Like, yeah, the rainbow community. Sounds, I like that, but yeah, it choices, perspectives. But yeah, I I see that there's a lot of legislation coming into schools now, and that there's teachers teaching people about. I saw one video about drag queens like twerking to, it looked like preschool children. I mean, no, no, come on, guys, what are you doing? Like, no. So, again, below a certain age, they don't need to know that. They need to be children. They need to play with toys and learn how to interact with each other and be kind, and just have fun being children. They don't need to know about twerking. They don't need to know about any of that. But when puberty hits in, it's different for every child. Sort of around the teens, I'm guessing, sort of 12, 13, and then we start seeing people in a different way, or certain people. Maybe then, we start having conversations. Although I still don't know about twerking. I don't know what I don't know what that gives to people. I mean, it may have just been a bit of fun, perhaps. I mean, not everything is as deep, perhaps, as it seems. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to talk about this. It may not be all women now, but if young women are being taught this with, gender studies, and feminist movements, and young women coming up are learning this without context, without experience, without understanding, two sides, what makes a woman, what makes a man a man. I could see this getting worse. At the moment, yes, it's not all women, but if we're teaching this to people, could it become even more of a problem down the line? That's what kind of concerns me. And then you have this backlash, from men. Men, if we're led to believe, are already walking away from relationships, from marriages, from children. That could get worse. Then, we're not producing children. I mean, okay, the world is what, 8 billion people, I think, at the moment. So I suppose we could start, having less babies is probably not going to be a problem at the moment, but it could become a problem down the line. So, I think we have to be very careful about what we do and what we say to impressionable minds, because, and I do think that some of this legislation is being done with the best of intentions, but as the old age saying goes, the road to ruin is paved with good intentions. So I think we just need to think these things through, because if we're producing these kind of women or men, that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a problem, particularly if it becomes a rising trend. It becomes a rising problem. So that's all I have for you now. Very different video, but gaming videos are coming, and other kinds of videos. So yeah, if this one wasn't for you, maybe there's something else for you, or hopefully you have lots of other YouTubers that you enjoy more than me, and that's okay. Until the next video, stay safe, be well, don't be this. You know, try to be the best person you can and treat others well, and you will get it back. You will get it back. I promise you. Until the next video, bye for now.